Hi, welcome to Criminally Creative, a podcast about my various creative endeavors. Today is July 31st, 2021. I'm Susan. You can find me on Ravelry as Legal Eagle and on Instagram as Criminally Creative Podcast. Um, Thank you for joining me, checking me out if it's your first time, and if you are a returning viewer, I really appreciate you coming back. Today, I will mainly be talking about a little bit of knitting, a lot of cross stitch. That seems to be my jam these days. So I am still knitting, but I seem to be doing a little bit more cross stitch than knitting. So if you joined me originally because I was a knitting podcast, I will do the knitting in the beginning of each segment, so you can skip around a little bit if you want to, if you're not interested in the cross stitch. But if you're a knitter and not a cross stitcher, maybe, we all need new hobbies. Lord knows I accumulate them daily. So anyway, I will get started and first give Hearsay, just to let you know kind of what's been up. It's been about 6 weeks since I podcast, which is actually not too bad for me. A couple things. Let's see what's happened since I last talked to you. My youngest granddaughter had her first birthday. Actually, I think her birthday was the day before our last podcast, because I think the last time I did the podcast, we were supposed to have gone to her birthday party, but because of my daughter's air conditioning going out, it was postponed, and it was postponed to July 4th weekend, which worked out because some of our good friends live close to where our daughter lives. So we went down and spent a night with our daughter and did the birthday party, and then we went and spent the rest of the weekend with our friends. Hung out by their pool July 4th and went out and had some good food with them and some other friends, and just had a nice, relaxing, long holiday weekend. My sister and her son, my sister lives in California. They came out shortly after July 4th to North Carolina and had been here for about the past 3 weeks. They left yesterday. So got to see them a few days after they got here, spent the day with them and my mother. And then last week, my parents and my brother and his family and my sister and her son and her husband was there for a few days. We're all at the beach. So I went down to the beach last week for a few days towards the end of the week, and got to see all them. So that was nice. And while I was at the beach, I was able to have lunch with my friend Peggy. Hi, Peggy. Peggy's one of my best friends all the way around, but one of my best knitting girlfriends and one of the people I usually travel with when we can travel. But of course, because of pandemic, we have not been traveling the past year or so, and I think we figured out I had not actually seen her in person live since November of 2019, which she lives about 3 hours away from me, so we don't see each other like super regularly, but we are used to seeing each other at least 3 or 4 times a year in person, and that obviously hasn't happened. I've seen her on Zoom, but anyway, so we had a nice lunch. Her birthday was recently, so I was able to give her her birthday present in person, which was nice because I usually am mailing it even during normal times. And we just wandered around a little shopping area and chatted, and it was just good to catch up and actually see each other in person and be able to hug her. So anyway, that's been about it. Other than that, just working, relaxing, and all the fun stuff. So anyway, we'll get into the crafting. First up is verdicts, which is what I call my finished objects. And I had 2 knitting verdicts. The first is the Color Me shawl, which I have, these ends are woven in, but I have not blocked this yet, so I don't trim my ends until after I block it. Try to get this. This is a shawl by Boo Knits. It was like a knit along right after Christmas, I think it was. I think it was the 12, like between Christmas and New Year's. And I started it, but then it got set aside. But I picked that up and finished it. It is knit in Malabrigo Rios, in the colors, the lightest colors, aquamarine. This, I was trying to find a good bit of it, but this medium color right here is called Denim. The darkest blue is called Paris Night, and then the pink is called Hollyhock. So this was knit on a US 8 5mm needle, and it's just an asymmetrical Malabrigo Rios words is a worsted weight. So this is kind of a heavier weight shawl, so it's good for me at least, that it's not that big. So I got that. The other knitting verdict that I have, I will have to insert a picture of here, and it's not a great picture, sorry, because I have already given it away. It is the shadow cable baby blanket that I showed you at the last podcast that I was almost finished with. Excuse me. That is a pattern by Brene Design Studio, and I knit that out of, I think it was called Brene Blanket was the name of the yarn. It was a chunky weight yarn that I had left over from when I made crocheted the baby Yodas last year. The colorway was almond, and I knit that on a US 11 8mm needle. I'm sorry if I keep looking down, it's for my notes, so I don't get anything wrong. So those were my 2 knitting verdicts. I also have 2 cross-stitch verdicts. The first of which is a pattern called Where Liberty Dwells by Heartstring Samplery. There's the pattern page. And I'm sorry I have not ironed this. This is my finish. Oh, get it all on screen there. The original pattern has, this is intended to be a huswife, which I think is some kind of needle roll or something. I actually looked it up when I first got the pattern, and now I forgot. If I think about it, I will put a definition or something of what huswife is down below. So the original pattern had this end angled, like tab style, so it kind of, and I think that has to do with it rolling up or something, but I made it rectangular because probably what I will do is turn it into a long little narrow pillow. I knit this out of the called for Classic Colorworks, no, not Classic Colorworks, Weeks Dye Works threads, 1 strand over 2 on 36 count Winter Moon, Zweigart Winter Moon. I did substitute for the parchment. So this right here, I don't know if you can even see that, is the parchment, this one. And obviously it doesn't show up very well, which I was fine with there, but for the eagle and the flag, I substituted DMC 3865 just to be a little whiter white. One, just because for the eagle, I don't know why I wanted it particularly white, and it just stood out a little better on the flag. So, but I did use the parchment on those couple of berry-like things. So that at some point you may see as a fully finished object in a pillow whenever I get around to it. So the other cross-stitch verdict that I have, I will also have to insert a picture of here. It was my Made to Create stitch along that you had seen in progress, and I think probably the last time you saw it, the last clue was getting ready to come out. I finished the last clue, except the pattern had a border around it, which I chose not to do because of the way that I finished it. And I will insert a picture of my finish here. I gave that to my friend Peggy as part of her birthday present. And so what I did is I turned it into kind of a quilted wall hanging. My quilting skills are very beginner level, so there are definitely, it's a little wonky. I realized later it wasn't quite straight once I trimmed the fabric. I probably should have put some, I put some batting in the little quilted thing, but I probably should have put, I've lost the word, what's it called? The stuff you like iron on the back of it. I can't think of the word right now. I probably should have put some of that on the back of the cross stitch before I sewed the fabric, because it would have, the finished result, the cross stitch had a little wave in it, because I did not quilt across the cross stitch because I didn't want the quilting lines across that. So anyway, Peggy is crafty as well, and so I know she appreciates it even though it's not perfect. So anyway, but that's it for verdicts. So court in session is what I call my whips, and I will start with knitting. I am still working on the same socks that I showed you last time. These have mainly just been traveling around my pocketbook, getting a little bit here and there. This yarn is Kirby Werby, Hells to the Yes. And as I said last time, she is a color genius. And I have gotten the heels turned on these. I had intended to do the heels in like a solid color or something, not to mess up the stripe pattern on the front. But I got to the heel when I was out and about and had forgotten to throw any scrap yarn in here to use for those. So what I actually did is I just pulled, I'm knitting from the outside of the ball, but I just pulled from the center of the ball for the heels. So that's why you see the oranges close together, because, you don't see the heels of the thing. So anyway, I knit all my socks on US 1s on 2 circulars, 2 at a time. So like I said, I've just turned the heels on those, and I'm ready to do the leg. So I only do about 4 inches of leg before I do, I usually do 3 to 4 inches before I do about 1.5 inches of rib, maybe 2 inches. So those will probably be done by the next time I podcast, hopefully. And then I did start, so back up just a second. I don't usually show yarn in my haul, because up until this year I have bought way too much yarn. Actually, I had not bought a single skein of yarn in 2021. Not that I haven't been spending money on craft stuff, because I've been spending it all on cross stitch stuff. But I had not bought a single skein of yarn in North Carolina. Where the hell did that come from? In 2021, until the day that I met my mom and my sister and my nephew down in Southern Pines, and I went to the yarn store that's down there that I had not been to all year. Yeah, I had not been to all year. But they were having a sale, and I had a full loyalty card, which gave me like $20. I think it gives you $20 off, maybe even $25 off. They have a good loyalty program. So anyway, so I did buy some yarn that day, but of the 3 types of yarn I bought, 2 of them I came home and immediately cast on. So the one I didn't is I did buy a linen silk, I think it's a linen silk blend, to make a summer top at some point, but I haven't cast that on. But what I did buy and cast on is I started another bounce blanket, which I've showed you those before. It's one of my favorite baby blanket patterns, and my go-to lately has been Universal Yarn Cotton Supreme. So I'll show you what I've done, and I'll show you the rest of the colors. So I've just started it. I'm just about to the 3rd color. So I'm doing the purple and the lime, and then turquoise is the color I'm just starting. And then I have a magenta. So this will be, see if I can show you all 3 colors at once without this bag falling off my lap. And then I'm using a light gray, which is called Silken, as the in-between. So this will be, fun, bright colors that just so I'll have a baby blanket on hand if somebody else pops out a baby. And the colors are, generic as far as boy or girl, so they'll be good to have. I have this in a big old bucket bag that is from Cottontail Farm. She is a vendor with Carolina Fiber Fest. She also has an Etsy shop, which I think is Cottontail Farm VA, as in Virginia, the abbreviation for Virginia. So she has a lot of different types of bags, like wedge bags and zip bags. And then the other thing that I bought that I cast on, and this is in this library bag, which is by Bags by Awesome Granny. So this was yarn they had on sale, and this is Lang de Pinto. I think it's dip into, but all in one word. Which is like I guess kind of a striping yarn, but I bought 2 colorways. So, I mean, they're very similar colors and tone, but they are different colorways. This one has a lot more blue in it, and this one has a lot more green in it. And I started a zigzag scarf by Christy Cam. I didn't say the bounce pattern is by Tin Can Knits, but I have, and all my knitting projects, I do have project pages on Ravelry, which will give you all the details if I forget to say something. So I started a zigzag scarf And it's literal, it's kind of what it sounds like. It's zigzag there. That's actually the right side. And I'm alternating the skein. So you go across and back, switch to the other skein, go across and back so that it will meld the two skeins of colors. And that will just be a scarf at some point as I slowly work on it. I am knitting that on US 3s, 3.25 millimeters. So that is all my Courting session for knitting. But like I said, I've been cross-stitching a lot more than I've been knitting. So I have worked on several cross-stitch projects since the last saw you. The first is one you've seen several times, the Fruits of Plenty. This is my, I have this in the brass button cross-stitch bag. Love her bags. I love the fact they have handles on them. Just bought another one the other day that's not here yet. This is a year-long stitch-along by Modern Folk Embroidery, who is Jacob DeGraff. And, sorry, let me put that down. I finished July. So I'm doing the 2-color version. And for all of my cross-stitch projects, there is a link below to my Google Drive spreadsheet, which gives you fabric name, flosses, in the sense that if it's a lot of flosses, it will just tell you whether it's called for or not, or whether I made substitutions. So this is in DMC 939 and 3 something. I can't remember the 2-color names, but it's the colors called for in the pattern for the 2-color version. So I finished that, and just in time. I think I finished that Wednesday, and the August part comes out tomorrow. So the August part is going to have the house, and if I remember correctly from what he said end of last year when he was talking about it, I think there's going to be some different options for the house. So we'll see what I do, what version I go with. Let me flip my page. Hopefully I won't shake that too much. So then I didn't mention the Where Liberty Dwells that I showed the finish. That was one that was my inauguration day start this year. And that was one of my Whip Go projects for July, and my goal was to finish it, which I did. So my other Whip Go project for July was my Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Happily Ever After, and my goal for that was to finish another block, which I did. So I've now done those top 3 blocks. This is Billy Goat's Gruff. This is I think I said it's Happily Ever After by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And this, I bought the kit for this. This is one of my older whips that I started back in 2016. And it's a 14 count Ada opalescent with the DMC flosses that the kit came with. That is also a brass button bag, which has got Beauty and the Beast, which I thought was appropriate for a pattern called Happily Ever After. She is the Brass Button Shop on Etsy. I'll run together because Etsy's horrible. Your best bet when you're trying to find something on Etsy is to Google what you think the name of the shop is, and it will usually pop up the Etsy links because the Etsy search engine sucks. The next project that I've worked on, and I've just been working on this past week because I've been playing, I got a thread sticking out there. I've been playing Choose Your Whip on Semi-Sane Stitchers, and this was my whip for the week. Actually have I will, for Happily Ever After, hopefully I'll put a picture in there what the total thing looks like. Some of these I have the picture, but for the most part I'm gonna have to put pictures in. This is O Feathers by Rosewood Manor. This was one of my expo purchases in the spring. This is also the first project that I'm doing with Sulky Threads. And this is how much I've done. it's, well, it's sitting crooked in the Q-snap, but it's like, I started at the bottom left corner just to kind of know where I was. So, I'm enjoying this. This is on, I think it's 36 count antique white. Check my spreadsheet if you really need to know. I didn't write it down. So worked on that. Let's see what else we got next. And I think I showed you last time that I had just started Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow. And I haven't worked too much on this. I watch Stitching in the Land of Good Enough, Pam. I couldn't think of the full name of the podcast. And she does, about every 2 weeks, does a Hawk Run Hollow Zoom, where if you're working on a Hawk Run Hollow, you can fill out her form and she'll send you a link to a Zoom meeting. And so I've done that a couple times. The last one was this past Thursday night, but I wasn't able to do it because I had to take my sister to the airport and everything that night. But so this is how much I've done. I'm just still on the first block. I am doing this on 27 count Linda in the Whisper colorway, which is just I don't know if you can see the color, just the lightest bit of gray. And I am doing it 1/1, so it's a much smaller, my hope, I want the end result to be not quite so gigantic. As I think I've mentioned before, I live in a geodesic dome, so I don't have a lot of flat wall space to hang stuff on. Sorry, string sticking out, and I wasn't sure if it was an imported string. Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow, which hopefully I have put a picture of, is by Carriage House Samplings. And then I have one new start since I last talked to you. I started Halloween Quaker by Leela Studio, which I'll put a picture of in here. And I have just got a small start on this. Just a tiny little start. I am doing this on 40 count Fiber on a Whim in the colorway Heather. I'm using the Called For Classic Colorworks, so you probably can't, that probably looks black on your screen, but it's really kind of a charcoaly gray. The only thing I'm not sure about showing up is, I'm just going to see if I can show you. I'm not sure how well this color is going to show up when I'm stitching with one strand. So I have pulled another little bit darker Fiberlicious purple that I will substitute if the other one doesn't show up very well, because there is a brighter purple as well. So I'm having trouble holding everything and showing you. So these are the Called For colors. And as you can see, there's a brighter purple already. So I wanted to stick to the kind of muted tone of that purpley gray, but I'm not sure how well that's going to show up. And the couple of motifs that it shows up in, I want to be able to at least see, even if they're subtle. So when we get there, I may substitute that to have still a purplish gray, but with a little bit darker so it stands up. We'll see what it looks like. Sorry. But I didn't have any Halloween started, and one of the floss tubes that I've watched recently is Criss Cross Stitch. And he is doing a hashtag spooky summer stitch along. So I'm doing that as part of that. Although I really haven't touched it since I started it the last day of June. So this is in a, I don't know if I showed you my last two bags. I'll show you in a minute. This is Lynn X Stitch Creates. This was the June quarterly bag. She does she sells bags on Instagram, as she makes them, but she has also this year been doing a quarterly bag that comes with the bag. You get a pattern, and Colleen from Rebel Stitcher Designs does a needle minder with it. And the needle minder, actually I can reach it. the needle minder for this one was a little bell jar with what I guess are supposed to be fireflies in it, because this is fireflies and bell jars. So, and this was the March bag in her quarterly. And I have, the next one is September, which I have ordered, but don't know what it is. The fabric is a surprise on the quarterly bags. And then my Hawker and Hollow is in another brass button shop bag, just Christmassy one with Santas. So that is all of my current, or all the whips that I've worked on since we last talked as far as cross stitch goes. I have also worked on the 2 blankets that were on my whip go for July, except it ended up being 1 blanket. Both squares were striped miter, so I've done about 8 more striped miter squares. But again, I'm probably not going to show you those blankets again until end of the year, because they don't look much different, just a little bigger. So anyway, pre-trial, before I get into showing you my stashing for retirement, my pre-trial proceedings and my plans for the next month or so. The August Modern Folk Embroidery comes out tomorrow, so I will start working on that. I think the tact I'm going to take this month is trying to just put a thread or 2 in every day, and then have a couple, periodically work on it a little bit more. The 2 WIPCO numbers that were called were 7 and 8. Number 7 for me is my Treasure Hunt bookshelf, which is a full coverage design by, I believe the artist is Amy Stewart. It's a Heaven and Earth charted design. My WIPCO goal for that is 500 stitches, which I will probably do more than 500. When I set my goals at the beginning of the year, I had just got back into cross stitch, and I didn't really have a good idea of what was realistic. So 500 is my goal, and if I get 500, I'll be satisfied with that, but I probably will do more than that on it. Number 8 for me is Winter Wonderland, which is a project that I'm working on out of the Silk app, and my goal for that is 5%. So you've seen both those projects before, so I'm not going to show you where I am now, but after I work on them, I'll show you some. And then also, I will probably be starting soon Butter Believe It by Silver Creek Samplings, which, I did bring it over here. Couldn't remember if I brought it over here or not. I have, ooh, I'm losing stuff. Oh, please. Okay, project I'm getting ready to start is Butter Believe It by Silver Creek Sampling. And it says, I have a lot to say. Maybe you should get popcorn. I am doing this in the called for fabric, which is 18 count Aida in fog by Picture This Plus. And the called for floss, which, well, mostly called for. Not completely. So I don't have all the DMCs pulled yet, but these 2 are called for, the Gentle Art and Blue Jay and Week Style Works in Squash. It calls for the orange to be, I think, Week Style Works and Pumpkin something. No, Gentle Arts Simply Shaker in Pumpkin Pie. That is out of stock everywhere as far as I can tell, so I am going to substitute Classic Colorworks Sassy Brass, which I think is a similar. And then we'll use all the called for DMC. It just has those 3 fancy flosses. And the other thing that I'm getting ready to start probably tomorrow is the Cryptid Stitch Along by the Witchy Stitcher. It is a stitch along that is going to run for about 6 months. Tomorrow the frame comes out, and then the first part of the pattern, other than the frame, doesn't actually come out till early September. And then I think you get a part like every Friday or every other Friday. I think it's every Friday until like mid to late January, with a break for like Christmas and stuff, I think. I'm not sure that I will 100% keep up with that one, but I've seen some of her past stitch alongs, and it's like this one is like legendary creatures themed, like Loch Ness Monster, Saskatchewan, not Saskatchewan, Sasquatch. What is the word I'm looking for? Sasquatch. Mythical type creatures is supposed to be the theme of it. So, so I think it'll be cute. We'll see. I'll start it, and I don't know that I'll do the whole frame before it comes out. What I may start is, I don't know. I guess I don't know if she starts usually like top left or where she starts. So we'll see. Hopefully when the frame comes out, it will let us know where the first part of the pattern will be so that we can start the frame there, and then I may do the frame as we go. But so those are my cross stitch plans. Knitting plan wise, the only thing that's possibly on the horizon as far as a new start is there's a new pattern, a newish pattern out called Recalibrate by Chanel Designs. It's a pullover top that's kind of poncho looking, but it's a top. It has like a center garter stitch panel and then garter stitch that goes this way, and it looks really cute. So I may soon be doing a stash dive and pulling some yarns to make that for my stash. So not that I don't already have several sweaters on the needles that I should probably finish first, but always something new. So we'll see if that actually happens. I don't know. Maybe I'll feel guilty not guilty. Guilty is not the right word. Maybe I'll decide that it would be better to pull out one of the already started ones. We'll see. So anyway, that is all of the crafting. The rest of what I have is my stashing for retirement, and I have quite a few things to show. So if you're only interested in the crafts and not in the stuff that I bought for future crafts, then I'll see you later. But otherwise, here we go. So we'll start with fabric. I got a couple of I belong to a couple of fabric clubs. One is Fiberlicious, and so there was a little bit of a delay on fabric. So I got May. I get 36 count linen, plain, back quarter. So May was Lavender Mist. Y'all probably seen these two. And June was Peach of My Heart. And then I just got July a week or so ago, which was Aloe from the Other Side. So I got those. And then also, let's see what else. I got my Bestitch Me June was Neptune. I get this 36 count linen, fat quarter. I'm not going to take that out because I think you've probably already seen it with other people. We don't have July yet. She had a slight delay, but we will get that. A couple months ago, I joined the Fortnite Fabric, Shades of Gray Club. But I went with 40 count on this one, and they had of course, the fabric shortages. So I just got June and July, I think. It doesn't actually have months on these, so I'm not sure which one's which. But this one is Shall Not Pass. I'll take these out. Sorry for the crinkling. Which is a real pretty with lots of gray. And the other one is, I think it says I Try. That almost looks like an H, like it should be I Die, but I think it says I Try. And this one, I think this is what I am going to use for my cryptid stitch along. So you will see this one again soon. Excuse me. Set those there and put them back later so you don't have to listen to the crinkling. Let's see, what else did I get fabric? So Jody from Steel City Stitchers did an auction on her Instagram to raise money for a animal shelter or an animal charity in her area. I can't remember what. And I won the auction for the 40 count Verdal, which I've never actually used 40 count Verdal, but the color, the ones that are, they were right on my wheelhouse. These are fat eighths. So I got that one. These do not have names. Got this one, which is very similar, but not quite as modeled as the first one. And then this lovely kind of pinky purple. So looking forward to trying those. I guess I can just leave all this fabric out because I need to put them on boards to store them now that I'm showing them. And then the last bit of fabric, I think, is the Color and Cotton fabric grab bags popped back up, I think last week or so ago. And I was able to snag a linen. And these are 8 by 12 pieces. I think, I haven't actually measured. These all look like they're probably 40 count to me. They're at least 36 count. So I got this green. Kind of a tanny peach or peachy tan. And real pretty pink with just a little bit of modeling to it. So those will be good. And that's all the fabric I got. And I wanted to show you this. I got, when I won the auction from Jody, she sent this bag with it. And if you watch Steel City Sisters, you see she got a different one for some of the girls, but, or maybe it was the same one. But anyway, it says, yes, I really do need more fabric. So, and then on the back it says, hashtag fabric stash. So since I've been buying quite a bit of quilting fabric too lately, that's appropriate. I did get some more floss. Oh, well, this is not fabric, but it's kind of fabric-like. I ordered 2 things of perforated paper in a black and a tan. Because the intent is to make a few. I bought I don't have pictures of this, but I bought a couple of Grinch ornaments that are like patterns for Grinch ornaments on Etsy from Brooks Books. And so I want to do a few Christmas ornaments, and that's what those are for. So I got some more floss from A Wicked Stepmother. She is on Etsy. And I've been buying her floss. As she pops up 3 or 4 colors at a time, and you got to grab it because it doesn't last very long, and you don't know when the next, I've seen the same color once or twice, but for the most part, they're different each time. So this one is Waxahachie. It's kind of a deep coral. Stormy Weather, which is a gray, but it's got little hints of tan in there. Champagne Supernova, tan with little hints of gray. And then I got 2 skeins of Blue Moon because I love blue, and I figured anytime she has a blue, I usually buy 2 skeins of it because I know I'm more likely to use that. I also ordered, I think this is all the same, yeah. So Al Forest, I can't remember if they had a sale on their floss or if I just decided that I didn't want to miss out on, I did not order full kits. I ordered some floss packs for patterns that I had or intend to buy. One is the Emerald City. So I bought the floss pack for the Emerald City, which is a stitch along, which is going on right now, I think. Is that the one that's going on right now? Or is it Alice in Wonderland going on right now? I think it's Emerald City that's going on right now. And I have not bought the pattern yet because I did not want to do it as a stitch along, so I prefer to wait and buy it when it's a full pattern. But I didn't want to miss out on the floss pack because I love their flosses are they're beautiful. So I bought the Emerald City. And so while I was at it, since it was coming from Russia, I bought the one for Alice in Wonderland, which I do have, assuming that I'm right about the current stitch along being Emerald City. And then I also bought the one for Southern Land and the one for Silver Hoof Frost. Sorry, let me see if I can do it without the glare. So, don't know when I will do those, but they're at least partially kitted. I will just need to pick out my fabric whenever I'm ready to do those. Let's see what else we got over here. I got a whole little bucket. So I have this year been doing Kiriki, Kiriki embroidery. Had a thing at the beginning of the year where you paid like a flat fee and you get a little embroidery stitch pattern once a quarter. And so I got the July one, which is called Beach Bag. And these are really cute if you want to learn embroidery stitches, because you have a picture, but you see the samples. So it's printed fabric. I think it's printed fabric, if I remember correctly. And, yeah, screen printed fabric. So you can do like the samples of the stitches, and then you have a picture to actually do with the stitches that this particular sampler shows. She has, besides this quarterly kit that I've got, she's got several cute little kits on her website that are the same. And she is www.kirikipress.com, Kiriki press.com. So check her out. I had ordered back, let's see if I can get all four of them. So back in late February, I had ordered some kits from mybobbin.com. They were having, I think they were having a sale. And I have bought several PDF patterns from them, but this is the first time I'd ordered kits. And they shipped like March 8th. And then they showed as getting to the first destination in Russia, and then nothing for months. To the point that, you know, and I knew it was just shipping, but of course it was still showing in Russia, which means U.S. Post Office couldn't do a thing for me. Finally, about mid-June, I think, I emailed them and said, hey, you know, I know it's mail, but do y'all have any ability to check on your side to see what's going? Which they really couldn't do, but it finally moved, and finally, I think around the 15th of July, so 4 months later, they showed up. So I got this Riolis kit. I don't know if I can, some of these do not have English names on them, so I'm not sure what they're called. This one I don't think has an English name on it. So, and this, the Riolis is wool acrylic yarn. And this has got a 16 count even weave fabric on it, in it. I got this one, which says casket on it. But I think that's because that's what they've translated the Russian word for this type of container to casket. The listing actually said something different. So, but it's, you know, balls of yarn with knitting needles and scissors and just a cute little crafty. This kit is by, oh, this is Cross Stitch Kit Needlewoman is what that says. But I don't see a, oh, there, it's a, you can read that, Sazvezdi. I think that's the manufacturer, the company name. This one is called Clockwork Dragonfly. I love dragonflies, so and I like the blue and the orange on that one. That one has Linda fabric, 27 count Linda. And I'm not sure what size, what type of thread. And then this one was just cute with the kittens with the yarn. So got that one. And that one, again, I don't know. The company name is obviously in Russian. That's 14 count Ada. Excuse me. So I got those. Let's see, what else did I get? I got the Halloween cross stitch, just cross stitch Halloween edition. I ordered that. I had pre-ordered that from Fire Poppies, and that came a week or so ago. Let's see what else we got here. Set these down, see if I can do it without shaking too much. Sorry if that shook. So, what else we ordered? I don't remember. Some of these came, I think, from Fire Poppies. Some may have come from 123 Stitch. And I don't remember where else the others came from. This one came from, oh, is it traditional? No, it's not Traditional Stitches. This one is an exclusive to some store. And I'm going to have to look up and put on the bottom of the store, because I can't remember if it was Traditional Stitches, Acorns and Threads. I don't know. This is Plum Street Sampler, Good Company. And I got the kit with the fabric and the floss. But this is still exclusive to some stitching, some LYS, and I can't remember which one. So I will have to look that up and hopefully remember to put that in the across the bottom. I finally ordered this hands-on design. Lick the Bowl. Life is short, lick the bowl. I might change the colors on. I'm not a big red fan, and I kind of like the red and turquoise. So I don't know, if I do it, I might do the red and turquoise, but then I would frame it maybe in turquoise to pull out the turquoise more. I don't know if it's just that the red frame makes it look too red to me. We'll see what happens with that. And then of course I couldn't resist this one, Resting Beach Face, just for the saying on it. I think we're going to the beach for a week in September, so I think that I'm going to kit this up so that I can stitch on this that week, because it's kind of small and will be something easy to work on. I've looked at this, these two I looked at a couple times, and I finally caved and bought them. Silver Creek Samplers, Izzy Decayin. And I just love the name and the play on words on that one. Little House Needleworks, Suffragette. Teresa Kogut, one of her newish ones, Wilbur. And I just love that pig. I grew up with Charlotte's Web, and so I had to have that one. And then I also got Teresa Kogut's Scylla Witches Quaker. So I don't know when those will get started. And then, as I'm sure most of you know, Barb from Blackbird Designs passed away unexpectedly a few weeks ago. And Blackbird is not, I'm not as big a Blackbird fan as a lot of people. I mean, they have beautiful designs. They're just not, a lot of them are not my aesthetic. But of course, one, in an effort to support them, to support Alma still, and just to support their business with Barb gone, I decided to go ahead and get a couple of the series that I had thought about getting. And also because, who knows what's going to happen, whether or not they might go away. I don't know. So the two series that I really wanted to get were the Magical Mystery Tour series, which is the Beetle ones, which is Eleanor Rigby, Strawberry Fields, Forever, Blackbird, Octopus's Garden, and Yellow Submarine. And oh, there it is. I was going to say, I thought I had Long and Winding Road. Long and Winding Road. I just had it in the wrong place. And then the other series, I'm not shaking that I wanted to have is the Anniversaries of the Heart. So, Snow Garden, Valentine Rose, I Wish for You. And of course, these are like by months. So the first one, I'm showing you in order. So it was January, February, March. April was Pink Hill Manor. Oops, sorry, too close. Farmhouse. Happy Birthday. Swan Lake. Clara Ellen. Moonlight Visitor. Pumpkin Patch. And Evergreen Lane. Sorry, I was thinking that was the last one, but it wasn't. And Elizabeth Jane. And then one other pattern that was Blackbird that I've had on my wish list for a while and not gotten around to buying is Away We Ride. So I wanted that one. So I got all those. And I think that's it. I really haven't bought a lot of PDF patterns since our last podcast. I think the only ones I bought were the, I bought the stitch along the cryptid stitch along that I'm going to start tomorrow, which so far is just an information sheet. And then I bought a Grinch and a Max pattern from Brooks Books that they're like ornament patterns for perforated paper. So I think that's it. Calendar, I will be at the Southern Comforts Fiber Market on Saturday, August 14th in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So if you are a knitter or fiber artist and planning to be there, look for me. I'm probably gonna hit Stitch and Frame in Rock Hill, which is Cross Stitch Shop, that morning before I go to the fiber market. I think the shop opens at 10, so I probably will be at the fiber market around lunchtime, maybe a little before. And I think that's really it as far as immediate events. We are going to, hopefully, cross our fingers, going to New Orleans the end of August with my parents to primarily do the D-Day Museum and stuff like that. But while I'm there, I do plan to hopefully hit the Quarter Stitch, which has both cross stitch and knitting, as I understand it. So I'll probably be there. Other than that, I have plans to go to SAF as long as it stays in person. If it doesn't stay in person, we might still try to do a girls' weekend depending on the state of things. We'll see. But that's about all. Like I said, we're going to the beach for a week in September. So that's about it. I am tentatively in my head going to try to podcast again, possibly Sunday the 15th after the fiber market. If I don't make it that weekend, I'm going to try to do it the next weekend before we go to New Orleans on the 25th so that I don't go quite so long again. But if you've been here before, you know that might be a total lie. It might be another 6 weeks or 6 months before I show up again. Hopefully not that long. So anyway, I am getting close to an hour, so I want to wrap this up. I appreciate you joining me. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, tell your friends, and I hope you will come back to see me. Leave me a comment below if you have any questions that I haven't answered or that are not answered by my project pages on Ravelry, or if I forget to flash something on screen I said I would flash, or you didn't understand what I said about where something came from, I'm happy to try to answer those. So thanks a lot. I'll talk to you later. Bye, y'all.